Hello and welcome everyone to the podcast, What's Next, where we dive a little deeper into life's bigger and sometimes scarier questions. Today we are joined by my very good friend and good brother, Amged, who is someone I go way back with. We actually served in Egypt together. And today actually we're going to be talking about tithing, especially when you're in college, and maybe tithing isn't something that comes easily, especially when finances are tight. But with that, I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to Mr. Migo to give us some introduction.
Thank you, Rafi. I'm happy to be here. I'm very excited. Actually, this is a very cool topic to talk about, and I think one that isn't talked about very much.
I would agree, especially not at this age level.
No, especially during Lent. We're a part of Lent. We're supposed to be generous and giving.
Yes,
giving back, having sacrificial love.
That's right. So that's right.
You're in midterms or you're in finals. What are you going to give as a broke college student? So let's. I think this is going to be great.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I remember back in my college years, this was probably one of the hardest weeks of my college career. Every single year, there's always finals or getting ready for finals, or a lot of studying, but also balancing, like, I want to go to all the church services. So there's like very little bandwidth in terms of time, at least.
Absolutely.
That I had. Yeah. But maybe that's something we can talk about today. I don't know.
Yeah. So you're juggling as a college student. You're juggling exams, assignments, communicating with professors, internships, maybe a job. Your car might be needing maintenance or taking it to the shop.
Always.
You need your social life, managing this life with your friends, your loved ones, your family, of course, church services and all these things. So juggling it and trying to give back can also be something difficult to manage.
Yeah. Absolutely, I agree, and I'm very blessed to have you here today, because you're one of the most generous and loving people that I know.
Thank you. I'm learning from you, Rafi. Honestly, the time we served together in Egypt has brought me a new perspective on giving, because I've seen you give to the children, and you didn't know any Arabic.
Not very much, at least.
And
it was very bad.
The kids all loved you exceedingly. You gave. It was gave your heart, your energy, your excitement, and it was very inspiring. So what I'm talking about here is really inspired by you.
I think I could say the same about you, Miko. Honestly, we spent some good times in Egypt together, and our time serving those kids was a blessing for all of us. I mean, I saw you loving them and giving to them just as much as I attempted to.
Thank God.
I was following your example, especially because I think that was your second time around.
That was my second time.
So why don't you kind of give a brief description of Serve to Learn for those who might not know what that is? Because we keep talking about serving in Egypt and all these kids. So maybe you can give us a little bit of background as to what that is, and a little information about that.
Yeah, so Rafi and I served on this service trip with Coptic orphans called Serve to Learn. It runs every year from mid-January to mid-February, and it's a 3-week service in Egypt where you get to serve with the Coptic orphans, children who are in Upper Egypt, more particularly in Luxor, Aswan, and Ina governorates. And the 3 weeks you're teaching them English in classrooms, just as a mechanism to bond with the children.
Yeah.
And then at night you get to visit them in their homes, and bond even further. And then by the 3 weeks, the last day is just the most traumatic for us.
Yeah, it's always
for us and the kids. It's a lot of crying.
It's always the worst. Yeah,
it's a lot of
goodbye is the hardest.
The goodbyes. It was really it was really inspiring.
Yeah.
And it's something that we will never forget.
I still to this day think about it at least a handful of times every week.
Yeah.
It's one of those experiences that really doesn't go away. But this is kind of interesting because I mean, when I went, I was working as a working adult.
Mhm.
Um, so arguably a little bit easier. But when you went,
So that was in 2023. So I was still in college. Actually, that time I did a whole major switch. I was computer
okay,
science, and then I switched to theology in 2022.
wow,
Yeah, it was a big switch, but I think um, it's much better for me now because I'm committing my full time to what I really want to delve deeper into,
interesting.
and it's so beautiful talking and reading and listening to the lectures about theology, about
Yeah,
God, about the early church fathers like St.
of
John
course, yes,
Chrysostom,
yes, of
the
course.
sayings, the saints, the
Yeah.
heretics that went through the church.
Mm,
All these was just it's a beautiful journey to delve into full
yeah.
time. So I'm very
Wow.
happy in it.
This is actually quite interesting. So, I would love to dive a little deeper into that career switch
Mhm.
and like the motivations to pursue like theology full time. But I would also love to highlight the fact that you went on this service trip, um, giving 3 weeks of your time
Mhm.
um, during college. Like
Yeah,
this wasn't while you were working. This is during schooling.
Mhm.
So did this like service trip happen? Um, I guess in that transition period, or was this while you were in school? You're you're going off onto this trip.
There was a 1 week overlap. So the
Okay.
first 2 weeks I was on break,
Okay.
and then the first week, which was the last week of service, was the first week of school.
Oh, okay.
So it was just 1 week of overlap, which wasn't so bad.
Wow. I mean, God is good, and
Thank
things
God.
work out perfectly,
Thank
don't
God. Yeah,
they?
that's
That's awesome. That's very cool. Okay, well, I'd like to know a little bit more about what motivated this transition from computer science to theology. I don't think you hear of that transition very often.
no, you don't hear of that transition. However, when I was just finishing high school, I've wanted to be a teacher.
Okay.
I love teaching and I
Yeah.
love being around kids. It's not the most secure job for a steady income or for good living,
Mm,
secure living, which is coming from your parents' side. They want you to be
of course.
very secure financially.
Naturally.
So I chose the second best thing, which was computer science. I love computers and technology.
Okay. Yeah. Who
Yeah,
doesn't, right? Especially these days.
yeah. And then no, I was unfulfilled doing writing
Mm,
code for a company or learning to write code and then
sure.
eventually writing code for a company.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be doing anything meaningful from my 9 to 5 job,
Interesting.
but
Okay.
I loved reading about the Desert Fathers, the spiritual books. And then my mentor was like, there's a whole theological school about this. I
Wow.
didn't even know.
So this is like the first time that this idea just kind of like
Yeah,
is born in
yeah,
your mind.
absolutely. And then,
Interesting.
yeah,
Okay.
I researched, applied, accepted, and then transitioned.
Wow. So this came through conversations with your mentor along with feeling unfulfilled in your potential 9 to 5 job.
Yeah.
If you're not
Mhm.
feeling fulfilled in the work that you're doing in school, you're probably not going to be fulfilled uh, in the work that you're going to do out of school.
Mhm.
So having a mentor it sounds like that was a really big thing
Mhm.
uh, that impacted like your transition.
Oh yeah, I highly recommend anybody doing a major decision does it with a mentor and your spiritual confession father. You,
Yeah,
you can't make this major transition on your own, and stuff. You need someone to walk you through and think through
yeah,
what you're
absolutely.
about to do.
No, I would agree with that. Yeah, having a mentor is kind of a monumental thing when you start talking with them
Yeah.
and I had a mentor as well, very briefly. in high school.
Mm.
He was a Boeing engineer.
Oh,
So I got to kind of have conversations with him about day to day engineering life.
Mm.
And that kind of helped me kind of solidify my decision to pursue engineering and to pursue aerospace. And so, yeah, mentors can have a huge impact on how you make a decision.
absolutely.
For sure. That's so cool. Yeah. So how about tithing? Would you consider like tithing purely a monetary thing, or is there other aspects to tithing?
There are definitely different aspects. So when we talk about tithing, everybody goes to the financial, monetary item, which is the currency.
Sure.
Everybody goes to,
The easiest thing, right?
that's the easiest thing, but there are so many different aspects and different things that you can tithe.
Okay.
I want to give an intro of the most famous example in the Bible about the widow with the two mites.
I was actually going to bring that up at some point. Yes. Yes.
She's an old widow,
Right.
with only two mites. You might be thinking, well, if she only has those two mites, there are different things she can give.
Sure. Maybe she
In
needed
that
those
time period, no,
maybe she needed those two mites to eat that night.
to eat. But no, she gave with all her heart, and she knew that there wasn't anything else that she could give. She's an old widow, very limited in her resources and the things she can do around the village or in the temple or wherever she can help with.
Right.
But she found that with the two mites, I can give it to God, and I trust that He will take care of me, and He will keep feeding me bread.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So with this, college students, you're juggling all these things at once, and you're almost broke or even broke.
Maybe, yeah.
What can you do? I want to start with a little bit of the basic thing that we all have. If you're still breathing, you have time, right?
Yes.
So give of your time. You can give of your time volunteering.
Okay. Volunteering. Okay.
There are many nonprofit organizations around us, soup kitchens, homeless shelters.
Yeah.
You can volunteer at your university. There are many volunteer opportunities. Go simpler. If you go to the cafeteria or the dining hall of the university, and then you have two lunch swipes to use, but you only use one that day. Use the other one to give somebody who really needs to be fed that day.
Wow. Yeah.
Give a ride to someone.
Okay.
You have a car, somebody lives on the other side of campus and it's raining. Give a ride to someone. So that is part of tithing. It can happen spontaneous. It can be something consistent, something you do every week, something you can do every month, something you can contribute to either weekly or monthly, like a monthly pledge to a church or to a organization. So there are many different ways you can help with using your skills, your talents. God, He gave us all a gift and a talent.
Right. Right.
Use them as part of your tithing to give back to the community.
Sure.
To spread the light of Christ through your actions. You don't have to be preaching on campus. However, through this form of giving, it turns into a form of service.
I love that. I don't think that I ever really considered some of these things that you've mentioned today as tithing, but you're completely right. Like when you give of what you have, even if it's not much, that is a form of tithing, because I think at the base, at the root of tithing, it's love, right? And it's a unconditional love.
Yes.
You're giving with all of your heart, expecting nothing in return. You're giving out of love, right? So, yeah. I mean, I have to agree with you. I love that. I love that you brought some of these ideas here because, again, not something that I would have connected that with.
And I love what you were saying about it's not about the quantity of $5 with all your heart, and you're giving it generously and you're giving it with a pure, cheerful heart.
Yeah.
with love is better than 500, and you're reluctant to give that 500.
Sure.
It was in 2 Corinthians 9:7, it says, each one must give as he decided in his heart, not reluctantly or under compulsion, for God loves a cheerful giver.
Wow.
So it's better to give with a cheerful heart rather than give with a bad intention.
Sure.
So just don't give it all if that's your intention behind it.
Right.
No, don't give it all. Come back with a cheerful heart, and then you can give.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think something else that's kind of interesting, I'm making a little bit of a connection here, but he says not to give under compulsion. So it's not like you're not giving just because someone like has a gun to your head, or you're not giving because you feel pressured to give. At that point, it's not really coming from you.
Yeah,
It's like an external force that's kind of driving you here.
It's never an obligation.
Exactly.
If you think of it as an obligation, it is not out of love.
That's right.
And I want to clear a misconception that some people may say, when I get rich, I'll start giving. No, start now, and never think that you can't give, because it's a gift from the Holy Spirit that we all have, and it's one of the fruits of the Holy Spirit, generosity and giving. So you are able to give, and you can give your energy, your time, your focus. You can tutor someone. You can be just as simple as going the extra mile with someone who's having a bad day, giving them a call.
Yeah. Yeah. Checking in on people.
Things like it is never an obligation, because maybe your spiritual father, when you were confessing to him, he was like, you have to give your 10% to the church and things like that. And then you're obligated to bring the 10% to the church. No, if it's not coming out of love, you won't earn anything back.
Right.
You see, because it's a two-way street. You're giving God 10% that he mentioned in the Bible. And he's going to show you many great things. What does that mean?
Right.
Number one, your treasures in heaven. Of course, you're going to have your reward in heaven. That's number one. Number two, what's he going to provide me with on earth? He said, try me. In the book of Malachi, he said, try me. Give me your tithing and try me. Try me in your career, in your education, in your home, with your roommate in the dorms.
Sure.
Graces are bestowed and blessings are bestowed when you give with a cheerful heart, and you really see God's hand at work in your life when you're giving with a pure, cheerful heart. And it's something I can't be explaining to you guys right now. It's something you got to experience. You got to encounter when you give with a cheerful heart.
I want to make a kind of a connection. I think this is very similar to the way that God has given us free will out of unconditional love, right? So when we're giving out of our own heart, it's not forced. It's not an obligation. That's when we know that our tithing is unconditional. It's out of love. It's with pure intentions. Just as God's love is unconditional, and he's not forcing us to love him.
Yeah.
He's not like, it's not an obligation for him to love us or us to love him, right? Right. So I think it's kind of an interesting parallel.
Yeah, and to take it even further, think about it. We take more than we give.
Absolutely. Always.
But what do we take? So God bestows on us health.
Yeah.
First thing, time.
Right.
Bestows on us time. Let's be thankful that we wake up in the morning.
I think we take a lot of this for granted most of the time. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we take in a lot more than we give. We're only instructed to give 10%, and he instructs us to give generously in the New Testament, not like the heathens or the Jews do, where it's 10%. Let's say my 10% is $16.36.
It's very like mathematical, very...
No, it's never like that.
Right.
New Testament says give generously, so round up. You see what I mean?
Yeah, why not?
So the $16.36, $20.
Yeah, sure. I love that.
And when you do that with a pure heart, you see the blessings he bestows on you, in your spiritual life, in material things.
Yeah.
That car that was about to break down, and you remember God first,
Yeah.
he's gonna make that car move a couple more weeks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that very much, actually.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing the church teaches us, especially in the time of Lent, because it's training your heart to love and to trust. Like you're saying, it's a sacrificial love. It's an unconditional love, and like the widow, she trusted God will take care of her.
Absolutely. I mean, she gave literally everything that she had.
Yeah.
She had no husband, no one to take care of her.
Yeah.
All she had were basically like 2 pennies.
Yeah.
And she gave everything out of love. So everything that you do it out of love. I think that's like one of the biggest things you can probably take away from this is do everything out of love.
Yeah. Saint Clement of Alexandria, he says something beautiful. So the rich man is not the one who has much, but the one who gives much. Therefore, wealth is not evil, but its misuse is.
Absolutely.
So give that you may receive eternally. So being rich is not evil. It's the one who gives much is the one who is truly rich. Rich in the things that matter. Money, you won't take money when you depart from this world. You won't take your possessions, gold or a house or your iPhone's technology and things like that.
Nothing. Yeah, that's right.
We need to make sure laying our treasures where it truly matters. Seeking first the kingdom of heaven, and everything else will follow. As a college student, we're learning to budget.
Yeah, I mean, life is tough.
It is, and you need to budget. You need to budget it wisely. So the church teaches us to budget God in first.
Absolutely.
And Pope Shenouda, he didn't want this to be a burden where, you have taxes and withdrawals from your gross income. He said, calculate the 10% from your net income. So it's not a big burden. So that's beautiful. And when you budget, don't give to God the leftovers. Whatever is left from my paycheck after I pay my car, after I pay my tuition, my loans, and my groceries and things like that. Whatever is left over, I'll give to the church. Give your firstborn, your first fruits to God, and everything else will follow.
Yes,
it's
100%.
Very important to keep God first in your budget, and everything else will be blessed.
Yes, that's right. There's a story in 2 Samuel, 24:24, I believe. I just read this. That's the only reason I know that off the top of my head. King David was saying that he cannot offer unto God that which has cost him nothing. And this is after he's like received a bunch of livestock and a bunch of riches for free. He was being asked to sacrifice of these calves, and he said no, he can't do that. He cannot sacrifice unto God that which has cost him nothing. And that really resonates with me, because if it doesn't hurt, you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
Right. It's got to hurt just a little bit. I cannot remember who said this, but I remember, and maybe you'll be able to recognize it. But there was a saying that give until it hurts. When it starts hurting, that's when you know you're approaching the correct.
I think Saint Basil?
Maybe.
I think so.
It's possible.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and look, but give until it starts to hurt. And again, this doesn't not necessarily mean your money. Like, yes, obviously, eventually, I think that's a good place to start.
Yeah.
But maybe in college, you don't have a lot of money. Like you were saying, there's the numerous examples that you gave earlier, right? go give someone a ride, even though they're like 30 minutes in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
You know, it's okay. Like it's a sacrificial love. It hurts a little bit, and that's how you know. That's how you know that
A blessing.
it's a blessing, right? You're doing it out of love. It's not a convenience for you to go out and pick someone up from the middle of nowhere.
And King David, he reached this when he, the example you gave from 2 Samuel, he reached this. It wasn't from the start.
Right.
So always start small, and when you're giving with a pure heart, you'll sense this. Like King David sensed it, and he felt like, no, this doesn't seem right.
Right.
So always start small but consistent. Because if you start small, and you start giving, and then you forget, and then you stop giving, then you got to start over.
Right.
Start small and start giving in whatever you're doing, service wise, your time, your energy, your resources as well.
Anything that you have, yeah.
And balance. Balance is key. Good management with your budget, not just financially, but also in what you're giving. So if you're giving a ride to someone 30 minutes in the opposite direction, that's a great blessing. But also make sure that you're also including your studies. Because if, let's say you drive him 30 minutes in the opposite direction, and then you still didn't cancel the party at night, and you still have an exam. So your priority should be, yes, I'm driving this person, and my priority is also studies. I'm gonna cancel the party and study.
Yeah.
Or if it takes time from your studies, that's fine. That's so tithing is a priority, studying is a priority. Your social life, if it takes a little bit from it, that's okay. That's sacrificial. That's sacrificial love.
Yes.
So there was one thing I was reading, not reading. It was a sermon. Abuna was like, if you have a credit card that has a $10,000 credit limit, and then the church says give to the poor and all these things, and then you go and use this credit card to the 10,000 limit, max it out. Sure. That's wrong. Why? But I gave it to the poor, but I did this good deed. No, because you're unable to pay it back now, and you put yourself in debt.
A pretty bad situation.
Exactly. Even though it was a good thing, but you put yourself in a pretty bad situation. So balance is always key, but it shouldn't keep you from service.
Yes.
You see what I mean? So your credit card limit, don't reach the limit and put yourself in debt. However, it should not be. It shouldn't be an obstacle not to tithe and not to give.
Right. Everything within reason, of course, and a little bit.
Yeah.
Within reason, and then a little bit, and then you're good.
Yeah, and I love the example you gave about giving someone a ride, because when you're in a car with someone, especially a friend, especially during our college stressful life, when you're in a car with someone, you get vulnerable, and you guys get to open up to each other, and then have this beautiful, pure talk, and you get to build each other up. So look how one act of a good deed reached where you're serving someone and you're reaching the light of Christ into another person. That person doesn't have to be a Christian. That person can be anybody, but they open up their heart and talked about something that they're going through, and you're going to help them through it, or just listen to them. And look how beautiful that turned out to be. It's just driving a car to a destination. Yeah,
that's true. It's a multi-purpose service.
Yeah.
Multi-purpose tithing there. I love that. I love that a lot.
Yeah. So Rafi, I want to test your memory on this.
Oh boy.
This was 2 years ago on our last day in the debrief session of the Serve to Learn service trip.
Okay.
So this was a quote by St. John Chrysostom, saying, "The poor man is indebted to you for a piece of bread, while you are indebted to him for your salvation."
Wow. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't really remember. I have the memory of a goldfish, but let's dissect that quote a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I love it.
So you're indebted to this poor man for a piece of bread.
Right.
And this poor man will give you your salvation because he's a gateway for you to serve, for you to
Wow.
give, for you to do your tithing. So
That's kind of mind-blowing that
Yeah.
piece of bread would be your gateway. It's not the bread, but a piece of bread and salvation are essentially being like compared here,
yes,
which is it's crazy.
yeah, yeah, and this saying goes far beyond, like you were saying. It's beyond a piece of bread. It's your giving. This is something that we're instructed to do for a reason, not
Yeah.
just something we're doing because as a command from God that it has no purpose. It has a true purpose for your life, to train your heart to love
Right.
and to trust, to also give you a chance to reach eternal life,
Yes.
to build your treasures in heaven through that poor man.
Yeah, that's actually kind of interesting. I've heard this a lot, in the sense of, people will be like almost competing to serve. Give me the chance to serve. Please give me the. Like you see this a lot at church, I think, or I've seen this a lot at church. I don't know if you see it.
Which church do you go to? I'll see volunteers.
Come. But it's like, yes, give me the chance to serve. Or maybe this was in Egypt more. I think you see this a little bit more in Egypt. Maybe in our culture. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's like, yes, give me this opportunity
Yes.
to earn my salvation, essentially.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. I love, so we have annual retreats for the high school, middle school kids and things like that. And then I always fall into the task to prepare the food, not prepare the food, but do the arrangements for the meals.
Let me go in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I love it.
So what we do, I always go to tons. And then last year I was like, what if I go to an amo, which is like an uncle. In the church, and then ask him, and I know he'll say I don't cook, or maybe I don't have enough time to prepare you food.
Sure.
But when I approached them, they were like, thank you for giving me the opportunity to contribute. I'm very sorry, I'm not very good at cooking. However, can I buy you anything? He was like, yeah, we have a list of things that we need to buy. And then he was like, okay, I'll take 1, 2, and 3. And then he took care of that. So it was so beautiful. Like you were saying, people want to serve, and they want to use their 10% and their tithing towards a contribution to something great.
Right. And I think this is kind of interesting. And we can kind of tie this into the parable of the talents, right?
Yeah.
We're not all great chefs or musicians or artists. But we have talents. We have things that we're good at. We have gifts that were given to us by God.
Yeah.
And we should be using those to give back to God, right?
Yeah, we're stewards of this talent. So if you're hiding it somewhere, and then God and on the day of judgment is going to, what did you do with this talent that I gave you?
Right. Did you bury it, or did you use it?
I buried it. I was staying very safe. I kept it. Well, I didn't give it to you to keep it safe.
Right.
I gave it to you to do something, to show the light of Christ to others.
Exactly.
To use it. And contribute.
It's interesting. When we were in Egypt, there were a lot of kids that were like incredible artists.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So many.
And I don't think that they had necessarily the facilities or the means to necessarily put their art out there,
right?
Or practice their artwork. Like their drawing or their painting or whatever.
Yeah.
But when you sit with them and like you give them a few crayons, a few pencils, some paper, incredible.
So happy,
breathtaking too. Like they're really good. They're really, really, really talented. It's incredible.
There was so last year's trip, they got each kid an art kit with brushes and acrylic paint and things like that, and they went crazy. They were absolutely stunned and then they would take it home, draw, and then next day, hey, this is what I made with the kit you gave me, and it's absolutely
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's something like that. If you use your tithe to invest in somebody's talents, that's something so beautiful.
It
Somebody who
is.
has a
It is.
talent but doesn't have the resources to contribute,
Right.
tithe your maybe finances or your mentorship,
Sure.
and then
Yeah.
take this kid or college student or whoever it is, and then build him up using your resources towards his talent.
Yes. Yes. I think it's also important not to forget that, God has given us so many blessings, so many things
Mm.
that we can use to give back to Him.
Yeah.
It's not just money, time, it's the talents, all of these things. If you're really good
Yeah.
at talking to people,
Yeah.
go serve as an usher at church.
Right.
Welcome new people into the church. How beautiful is that?
Now,
It's
like you're
things like
saying,
that.
the church should never hire accountants, lawyers, engineers. Never.
I
They
agree.
should come from the congregation. You're an engineer, you should be volunteering for this next building project. You're an architect, a lawyer, even with simple jobs, anything you can contribute it into the church and volunteer your time. That's part of giving. And I know this is towards college students in the audience. There was something we did in COVID. The
Okay.
college students had extra time because
Okay.
they
Yeah.
were stuck in the dorms. They didn't have extracurricular activities.
Yes.
And then
Of course.
when I reached out to them, they did tutoring sessions for students of our congregation on Zoom.
Oh, very nice.
That was incredible. You could do
That
that.
sounds amazing.
You could do that in a congregation. There's a certain age level that you can help with math, and
Sure.
and then you'll be contributing your skills and practicing those skills
Yeah.
and getting better at the math, and also
Yes.
tithing, helping
Yes.
and mentoring a child. That's beautiful.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I guess, Nico, what do you, in your experience,
Mm.
um, what would you say is the importance of tithing?
The importance of tithing can be narrowed down to a verse.
Okay.
So two verses. Two
Okay.
verses. I
Okay.
think as a responsibility, um, and as a perception. So
Okay.
as a responsibility, I'll give you the verse from Luke 16:10.
Okay.
It says, "He who is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much." So if you're faithful with what's little, God will trust you with more
Mm.
things in your life on earth, and will also build this treasure in heaven.
Okay.
Now, this perspective would be from Proverbs 22:9.
Okay.
Perspective would be, "He who has a generous eye will be blessed, for he gives of his bread to the poor." So
Mm.
having this generous eye in what I
Mm.
have, that I am completely detached from my things. So I have all these possessions, but I'm detached. I have a generous eye that anytime somebody has something and it needs something, I'm able to give it.
I
So
love that.
in Luke, gives us an example. It says, if you have two tunics or two garments, two
Right.
t-shirts in modern terminology, and somebody has zero, give him one.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So
Yeah.
it goes very simple as to, you have two of something and somebody has none, share and give. So having this blessed eye and complete detachment from my earthly things will then guide your heart to have a cheerful, generous giving.
Mm. Yes. I want to talk a little bit about, going off of what you're saying right here, some of the experiences that we had on Serve to Learn, because I think those really tie very well into this topic, actually.
Yeah.
Like you said, like Migo was saying, we would go and visit these homes. Migo, why don't you tell us what those homes looked like?
Oh, It was very beautiful, Rafi. So a little bit a general idea of what homes looked like. They were very simple. It was very small, and they used the home and what it's used for, which is just walls and a roof. That's all they needed, a shelter. Us homes now, it's much deeper. We have smart homes
Yes,
and things like that. No, they used just the brick walls and either a fully constructed roof or a roof made of straw. So these were very simple. And every home we went into, the walls were covered with saints, pictures, icons, and they weren't as fancy as this one. They were the stickers.
That's right. Yes.
You know, the Abuna would pass out
That's right.
in
That's
church,
right.
and they all had it in their homes, which was something beautiful. Going off with what you were saying, on these service trips, you know, it would be easy to just contribute $5,000,
Sure,
and then not spend the 3 weeks. No, these kids want something greater than money. They don't want money.
not at all.
What they want,
Not at all.
somebody to give them a hug and tell them, "Hey, yes, you can be a doctor when you
Yes.
grow up," and telling, encouraging them to keep studying because you can. Okay, and just because you're a girl doesn't mean you have to get married and stay at home. If you want to do that, by all means, yes, you can.
Sure.
But if you also want to be a doctor, yes, you can.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
So it was this love, giving them time, attention, and really listening to them. Nobody's listening to them in Egypt. And then just sitting with them, playing with them, fooling around, being silly, reverting back to a child,
Yes.
you know,
yes.
and then playing with them, doing silly,
Absolutely.
silly games, and things
Yes,
like
the
that.
children.
That was greater than money.
Absolutely.
That reached greater than money.
Absolutely. To kind of add on to that, to put it into perspective, like you said, most of the homes, brick walls, dirt floors, hay for the roofs. It's maybe a kind of like a studio in a way,
Right.
in the sense that you have your kitchen
Yeah.
and you have 6 people sleeping
Yeah.
in the living room / bedroom / kitchen.
Yes.
Right? Like it is tiny. We're talking like tiny.
Yes.
It's not like the 10-bedroom, 16 bathroom.
No, you don't have
mansions
floors
here, right?
There are no
There's
floors.
no floors.
It's one floor. It's 4 walls and a roof. And it's
Yes.
like you're saying, studio apartment where the kitchen is where your living room is.
Right.
And the living room doesn't have a couch.
No, the couch is the bed
The couch is the bed.
in most cases. Yeah.
Yes.
And sometimes,
Yeah.
and most of the times that couch / bed,
Mhm.
in a lot of cases, it was just bricks.
Yes.
Like, they slept on, or they sleep on bricks. So I'm painting this picture because I want to convey a message.
Mm.
These people have nothing, next to nothing, and yet we go into these houses and we're treated like kings, queens.
Yeah.
Their generosity knows no bounds. And I'm talking like Migo is saying, like they have the eye for generosity.
Right.
They have nothing. And they would send their kids to go out and buy soda.
Yeah.
Which they never, like,
For
they
us.
can't afford soda. They can't afford to drink soda themselves.
They don't drink on a daily basis. This is just for guests or special occasions.
Exactly. And so you walk into these homes and these people are so full of the Holy Spirit. They're so full of Christ's love. They give everything that they have.
Yeah.
Everything. And they have very little to give in the first place. And we walk into these homes and we sit with these families and we hear these stories of immense, incredible faith.
Yeah.
And
they're happy.
And they're so happy. They're
More
so
than
joyful.
us.
Yeah. They have nothing and they've got the biggest smiles on their face.
Yeah.
And for context, and Migo, maybe you can talk a little bit more about this, but in Egypt, when you lose the father in a family, you're considered an orphan.
Yeah.
Mother can't go out and work and provide for the family usually. at least not that much, not as much as the father would have been able to.
Correct.
And so these children are left fatherless. They have very little in terms of resources and income. And their mothers are carrying this burden of raising these children alone. Coptic Orphans comes in and helps educate kids, help support the mothers and the families, and sends servants to go out and serve.
It's the logical thing when you lose the father in Egypt, you're losing the breadwinner. And like you're saying, the mother can't provide the income that the father did.
Right.
And maybe a little bit just to get them moving. But the logical thing for the mother to do is the largest expense is education. So the logical thing, you're gonna drop out your kids. The boy would go work below minimum wage if there ever is minimum wage,
and they're really young too, like
really young, and hard labor,
10, 12 years old. Like
hard labor, doing construction at say 8 or 10 years old. And then the mother would also drop out her daughter and then try to marry her off early.
Right.
So the work of Coptic Orphans interfering and saying, no, keep them in school. We'll take care of this largest expense in your budget. And then they will continue in their education, becoming who they want to be. And then the cycle continues where they finish their education. Let's say they become a doctor, they open up their doctor's office, and they include in their tithes to give checkups or
like examinations
for free to those who can't afford it.
Yeah.
And this we've seen.
Yes.
This we've heard stories on.
Yes.
And the cycle continues with even lawyers and engineers and everything. Every career that you can do, the cycle still continues. And these kids truly love giving back because somebody gave them when they really needed it.
That's right.
It was something. And I want to reflect on another thing.
Sure.
When what we saw in Egypt, it really transformed us because I really felt spoiled. I felt extremely,
oh my goodness,
extremely spoiled.
Yeah.
And I wasn't, I thought I was happy. I had my PlayStation growing up and my couch and it was very, very comfortable. Going into these homes, no, there's a child who is literally a man.
Yeah.
A man carrying responsibility of his mother.
Right. Because he didn't have a choice.
Yeah. And his sisters. Yeah. He's still happy. And the mother, when we walked in, she was so generous that she wanted to give whatever she can to make us happy. And she was so joyful, jumping and laughing and smiling, that we were in her house. And I'm like, what did I do? I walked in. Maybe it was inconvenient for you. Maybe you were about to go to sleep.
Yeah.
But no, it was something extraordinary. And focus on what Rafi was saying. This feeling is like nothing you'll ever encounter in whatever you do.
Absolutely.
And there was something I forgot to mention when giving, let's say, to homeless, or you're doing service trips in Egypt. Do things hidden.
Right.
Drop the camera.
Yes.
Put it in your pocket. Keep these memories with you, and keep the tithing hidden. Don't let anybody know about it that they shouldn't. Either monetary, like how much or stuff like that, just for privacy of the families, but also that your reward may be in heaven, because you've done things in secret and it's between you and God, not advertising it for your own good, for your glory, for your pride, for your ambitions.
Yes.
No, it is solely on this tithing towards serving this person or this family.
Right. What your left hand does, do not let your right hand know. Not let your right hand see, right?
Yeah.
That sort of thing. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, so I think some of the takeaways from this conversation is even if it doesn't seem like you have anything to give,
Yeah.
there's always something that you can.
You're never broke to be generous.
Yes.
It's
Right.
not well, today I fell short in my profit of my company. I can't be generous today. No.
Exactly. There's always something that you can give, whether it's time, whether
Yes.
it's talent, whether it's money, whether it's what have you. If you have something that can help someone else,
Yeah. It's
that's the first
it's
step.
it's the fruit of the spirit. You have the
Yes.
Holy Spirit and you can. Don't ever say I can't today or I can't or I'm waiting until I reach the six-figure job
Right.
or
Right.
to reach first I need to buy this house or buy this car and then
Right.
I'll do it. You know,
Yes.
there's something my grandma does which always baffled me.
Okay.
She raises a lot of cows
Okay.
and cattle and
Yeah.
sheep and she loves it.
Mm.
Always when the cattle gives birth, she donates to the church. And
Okay.
when she slaughters the fatted cow,
Mm.
she gives the 10% to the church to give to the poor.
Wow.
Always, always. Whenever my cousins they passed, they would slaughter a goat or whatever and give it all to the church.
Wow.
Things like that you need to be held accountable for, which is why I want to bring up the point of a spiritual father.
Yes.
Because, for
Okay.
example, if you're looking for this internship or this job or graduating or passing this year,
Yes.
and you're like, Lord, I'm going to give you this if I pass this year or if this year goes really well, I'm going to give you this. And you don't do it, that's big.
Oh, it is big.
So
That's
always
big
consult.
trouble.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Consult with your father in confession. He will hold you accountable.
Yes.
And always keep it within your means to give. So don't be like, I'm gonna donate $5,000 to this charity and you don't have $5,000.
Yes. Yes.
That's a big burden.
That's right. That's right. Give within your means. We give of what God has given us.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Your paycheck, it's not yours.
No.
Your health, it's not yours. Your
Yeah.
time, it's not yours. It's God's. He's given it to you as a gift.
And he doesn't want anything from you.
First.
It's the spirit and the heart behind it. He's
exactly.
not looking for your $100 per paycheck or $10
Right.
or that $5.
Right.
It's the spirit of which you are doing things that inspires others, that
Yes.
puts a blessing, that puts food on somebody else's table,
Mhm.
that blesses others to
Yes.
bless. You're going to get the blessing anyway.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Doing it with this pure heart is extraordinary.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think that also kind of plays into the idea of you can't overextend yourself.
Yeah.
Right. You can't overextend yourself because you're giving of what God has given you.
Yes.
Right? If he hasn't given you X amount, you can't give X plus Y.
Exactly.
Right. So give within your means.
Yeah.
And give generously. Give with a generous eye. For the Luke passage.
Yeah. He who is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much. Yeah. He will entrust you with greater things. So if you're faithful in your Starbucks job during college, he will entrust you with this high position that you're able to tithe even more.
Mm.
So you're faithful in giving that $5 of your check. He will entrust you with tithing the $5,000 from your six figures.
Absolutely.
You see, so it's a beautiful verse, and it's for all of us. It's not for the rich or the poor.
That's right.
We've seen the poor people being extremely generous when they have
absolutely nothing to give.
little or nothing.
Right.
And we've seen wealthy people who are giving with a pure heart whatever they can offer.
Yes.
You see, it's for all of us.
It is for all of us. That's right. And I think another thing you can kind of think about is if you have done it to the least of these your brethren, you have done it unto me, right? So it's not just about, oh, I'm going to give this homeless person $10,
Yeah.
or I'm going to give my friend over here a ride. No, you're giving Christ a ride. You're giving Christ that $10. You are feeding Christ. You're clothing Christ.
Yeah.
See Christ in all who are around you. All that you do, do with that image in mind. You're serving Christ.
All for his glory, not for anything else.
Exactly.
Not for my glory, not for me to look good in front of my friends, giving this person anything. So, like you see on the trends on TikTok and things like that.
Yeah.
I'm giving this homeless person $100. What are you gonna do with it? No, put the camera away.
Exactly.
And
I like that. Put the camera away.
The camera away.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Do it in secret and build your treasures up in heaven.
And if you can't or you want to, pray about it.
Always.
Lord, simple prayer. Lord, teach me to give when it hurts. Teach me to give and help me to trust you more than I'm trusting my money or trusting my job or trusting my resources. So help me give even when I'm unable to, or even when it hurts, like you were saying.
Right.
And help me trust on you more than I trust on money or on my job or resources.
Yeah, absolutely.
And last point.
Yes.
When you were talking about 2 Samuel, freely receive, you should freely give.
Absolutely.
Something my dad put in perspective for me. He gave me a car for free, and then my brother's car broke down, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna sell him my car. My dad was like, did I give this? Did I sell you this car? He was like, no, you gave it to me for free. Then give it to your brother for free.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Start small, pray about it. Talk to your father, confession, how much you should contribute each month or in what means are available to you. And also hold yourself accountable, have your father of confession hold you accountable. And God doesn't want something from you, so don't feel like it's an obligation.
Right. It's not an obligation.
Do it with a pure, cheerful heart.
Yeah.
And you're never too broke to be generous or to give anything.
Yep, absolutely. So we've talked a little bit about why it's important to tithe. I want to ask you, because you were talking about Lent earlier, and this period that we're in. How does tithing tie into your faith? How does it impact your faith?
So it's through the trust. I'm going through this tough time. Even if you're not. Giving God what you have builds that trust in your spiritual relationship with God that builds onto your faith. So the first thing when you give, you're building trust that, hey, I know you'll take care of me. And I know that you're going to bestow these blessings and graces in my life. So through this trust, you build onto your faith, which is how King David realized that, hey, no, I received these things for free. I shouldn't be giving it to God for free. It's not of my own.
Right.
I should be giving of myself to God.
Yes.
Maybe in addition to these as well. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's through the trust that your faith will add on to your faith.
I actually really love that. Yeah. I mean, your faith is, in essence, having faith in God is trusting Him.
Yeah, and I know we have a lot of student loans. I know with everything going on in the world, things are changing every day.
Yeah.
It's very hard to have that perspective. However, start small. So if you can't give money right now, I'm not asking you to. I'm asking you to give of your time to someone who really needs attention. Give of your energy. And in Matthew saying, go the extra mile. That's part of your tithe. Volunteer and give your thoughts to think about others and instead of being selfish and thinking of how I'm doing and how I will do. If you're a dental student, help high school students who are thinking of the dental field what's the route you took,
Sure,
and
mentor
how
them.
they can
Yeah.
learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, mentor them. Yeah.
Mentor. It won't take much, just time.
Yeah.
And talking. That's
Yeah.
we all have.
Absolutely. I mean, how much time do you spend texting or doom scrolling on Instagram or TikTok, right? Like you could
Absolutely.
use that time to help someone else out.
Yeah.
I love that.
Take these opportunities. Don't ignore the opportunities to tithe.
Yep.
Be generous when you do it, in the moment, and try God. He said in Malachi, "Try me, honor the tithing, and try Him." And let's see in the comment section if you're. It would be great if you guys can share stories.
Yeah, I would love that actually.
Yes, try Him and see the blessings in your life. Even if your life is upside down right now, don't forget to tithe, because it will turn it back.
Yes.
It will turn it back into joy.
Yeah, I love that.
I'll share a story very quick. The tithing, the 10%, somebody, we do monthly pledges at our church.
Okay.
Somebody lost their job, and then they contacted the church. They were saying, "I lost my job. Can you please cancel my monthly pledge?" They're like, "Okay, I understand." And they canceled. Something so bad happened. They got in a car crash.
Oh my goodness.
So they lost the car. Something happened with their home. The AC unit broke.
Oh, no.
So all these added expenses happened after canceling the monthly pledge.
Oh no.
And then after all that happened, they called the church back, put my monthly pledge back online. All these things happened to me. It's a message from God. Put it back online, activate it. I'm never gonna, even if I lose my job, maybe I can decrease the amount, but I will never cancel it again. That was a true story that happened.
Wow, that's kind of inspiring in the sense that, yeah, no matter how bad things might seem, you should still trust him.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that he's gone and he's going to let you go.
No,
right?
No. Even when things are upside down, keep on giving. It doesn't stop. It's a life of giving. Just like we have a life of repentance, it's a life of giving. It's not something you do on Wednesdays and Fridays. You do it every day with whatever resources you have available. And the thing that we always have is time. As college students, we always say, "I don't have time for this." Yes, as long as you have breath, you're breathing,
man.
you have time. Don't let the devil try to trick you to take this blessing away from you, because he will try, but don't let him succeed. For anybody out there, praying for you that God blesses your giving, blesses your life, your education, and your future career, and makes you a cheerful giver. And you're never too poor to be generous in Christ. You have an unlimited source running through you. You can never run out.
Wow. Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself, Migo. I appreciate your time today for coming out here and talking on the podcast. Thank you everyone for listening. I hope that you took a few like practical things that you can do today in order to start tithing and start giving back and honoring God in all that we do. And I think that's kind of where it starts, in your generosity with all those around you in all the different forms that we talked about today. And thank you all again for listening. Please don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss another episode. And so you can stay up to date when a new episode drops every other week. Follow me on social media to keep up to date with future guests, future topics, and future episodes. And we will see you guys in the next one. God bless.
Awesome. And I'll see you in Egypt as well. Surf to Learn applications go live in September, I believe. Yeah.
All right. Yes. Let's all go to Surf to Learn.
Let's do it.
Let's go to Egypt, everyone.